All right, welcome for another great short video. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the cash flow quadrant. I know this one's a little bit flashy, as you can see here, but it's actually not very flashy. It's actually giving you information, what you need to know about how your mindset should be when you are building a business, or if you're already having your own business. And I'm going to be talking to you about each quadrant and why it's so important to being on the right side of the quadrant. So let's begin. Here we go. All right. So the first things first, as you can see on the left-hand side, how most people make money. This is, by the way, the 4 ways where most people, 99% I would say, earn money to make a living. Whether you're in right here in North America, whether you're in Asia, whatever part of the world you're in this beautiful blue planet, there's 4 ways people make money. Number one, let's just start with the most common, where 95% of the people are, and one of them is being an employee. An employee requires hard work. And initially, when you first start out in life, I believe you should always have some background as an employee, because guess what? When you become a boss down the road or having your own business, you're going to be managing employees if that's the way you want to go. So one of the things is that an employee takes hard work, as you can see here on the top left. And there is no security. Security in today's day and age, how many times have you heard where people on a Friday afternoon get the pink slip, or whatever day in the year it was? For me, it was on a Monday actually, but there's no security. Security means that when you have something that is secure, like a bank vault is secure, a job could be taken away. Why? I'll tell you why. Because there's so many people that can do your type of job, whatever you're in. So the job that you're in could be changed through a merger acquisition, even if you're in a high position in a company. Here, you're trading your time for money, so therefore there's lack of time for your things that you want to do. And it's called active income. You know, the word active, it seems pretty positive, right? But when it comes to income, you have to be active. You're constantly trading your time, where you go in the morning or whatever time of the day, you come home, and therefore you are dead tired by the time you get home. This is what you call having a job. Now think about this for a second, Instacom. Can you sell a job? No, you can't sell a job. But let's move to the next quadrant, where people end up saying, hey, you know what, I've worked hard for this, man, I want to start my own business. And guess what? They become maybe, let's say, a contractor, or they start a job and go to school and end up having their own practice as a doctor, or whatever. You can have a business as owning a real estate business, or whatever the business you have. You're really trading your time for the income you're making. So in other words, your expertise is needed in that business. One of the great things is that you should be thinking of having a business that's predicated more on a system rather than, and I will talk that out in a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about being self-employed. You know, people say that, hey, I want to have my own business, you know, work my own calendar. But guess what? Your calendar is your customer's calendar. Because if they're in need, they come into your store, they want service, they want to buy your product. You or one of your employees has to be there to service them. So you're still trading your time for money. And most businesses, when you start, takes debt. It takes money. So if you don't have your own money, you have to borrow money, which is nothing wrong with that if you know it's going to make you money, right? So debt requires risk tolerance. How's your risk tolerance? But guess what? When you come from an employee mindset and you're so attached to your security, a paycheck coming in week after week, in a business, you may not get a paycheck. You may make profits. And that's a different term you're thinking at. So insufficient funds. Most businesses are stagnant. Did you know that there's over 30 million businesses in the United States that do under 2 million in revenue? And some of them have been around for years. I'm talking of over decades. They're stuck at that. That's because they have insufficient funds for growing their business. So you need capital for growing your business, by the way. For marketing, for hiring employees, inventory, because you need to have inventory to sell to your product or service, location expansions. So all of these things take capital. And most business owners are working at a 3 to 5% profit. I know, because I was a management consultant for 22 years, and we analyzed businesses for a living. And most businesses were making a profit of anywhere from 0 to about 10% net profit, depending the industry, of course, but that's an average. And they're working about 60 hours a week. Because guess what? A business owner here is a person who knows more about the company than anyone else in the company. So they're the most important asset in that business. But guess what? If something happened to that business owner, God forbid, gets hit in a car accident or something, that business will go to shambles, because without them, the business can't run. So this is why being in your own business is a good way to start, but it's not a good way to end. And 95% of the people are in either this one or in this category. In fact, probably only about 7 to 10% are in the self-employed. And most of them are in the employee. Let's move on to the business ownership and passive income. What is this? This is a business. You own a system. You own a large company, maybe even a CEO of a company. All right. You own a system where you have people working for you. Now, even though you may have employees working for you here, you may have 10, 15, 20 employees, whatever. But here, you're working with expertise that may be on a 1099, somebody that you can hire, and they can actually build out systems for you. And you are actually making passive income, something that is set up, that is like a franchise model, or you can be a franchise model. That's being a business where things operate on an automated basis. I'll give you an example of that. Let's say a sales funnel comes in. What is a sales funnel? Sales funnel could be one you're going through right now. You maybe watch this video, maybe you're on my YouTube channel, wherever the case may be, and you saw a link. And you clicked on that link, you like what you saw, you like that video. Maybe they were offering a free ebook or a video on how to do something properly or improve your quality of life. And you clicked on it. You say, "I'll check it out." That led you to more information, and they traded your email for that information. Now you're on somebody's list. This is called an automated system. And once they do that, guess what happens? Now they can market additional services to you, which is not a bad idea. Some of those services may be very valuable, or products. Okay, so this is where you're automating your business, where you're not physically involved in client acquisition. Client acquisition, which is another sophisticated term called cold calling. Remember the old days of cold calling? People knocked on your door. They were trying to acquire you as their client for their business. So client acquisition could be automated. And that's something we can help you set up, by the way. So business owners are thinking of having a system in place where they're using other people's expertise who've already figured out how to build a brand or how to do certain things, and they're using that expertise to have their business grow. And here's an example. You see that they are creating more passive income. An example of that could be, let's say, a marketing campaign. You purchase a marketing campaign to acquire X number of people to watch your website, okay, or look at your website. Could be 1,000, the term called clicks. And out of the 1,000 clicks, 10% are interested. They move to the next step. They acquire your information. And out of those are maybe interested in booking a call with you or purchasing your product. That could be another 10%. So that's 10 people out of 1,000 now that have exchanged money for your services, for something. Okay, it could be a $50 product. It could be higher than that. But there's a process that needs to happen before they purchase the higher end product. We'll talk about that later in another video. Now here, an investor is where you are actually using money to leverage, to invest in that would increase in value. And this is another topic where we talk about using assets. Okay, but here money is starting to work for you. Now here's a common thing where most people say, "I don't have any money, so I can never be on this side." Wrong. In fact, most entrepreneurs, 95% of entrepreneurs, exactly, I think it's about 97% of entrepreneurs that start a business, borrow money. Some of them actually have money, but they still borrow it for two reasons. It's less riskier. Number two, it also provides them tax benefits, because when you borrow money, you're using it for a business. So there's tax benefits there as well. Here on the left side, there's very little tax benefit because you cannot deduct your cost of going to work and coming back in a job, right? You can do that here though. But here's the thing is, on this side of the coin, on this side of the quadrant rather, you are actually able to borrow money even if the interest, let's say, is 20% or 30%. I don't recommend you do it higher than that, but let's say even if you have to borrow it, keep in mind your focus is to borrow only for short term. Why? Because the business will generate the revenue to pay off the debt. So it's actually good debt. So there's another video I talk about on good debt and bad debt. You can check that out on the YouTube channel as well. But the main thing I want to get across is as an investor, you're using leveraging capital to make money. Even if you had to pay extra 20% interest on it, it's only for a short term. And number two, that interest is now tax deductible because you're using it for a business. So with that said, hope you like what you've seen. Make sure you share this video, put a like on it, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you again on the next video. Make it a great day.